Hello, ACCM. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we dive into the specific strategy, could you tell us a little bit about your experience as a player?
Yeah, hello. I was just playing this game since I was a kid. It's like 18 years ago, but at that time I'm still studying in the school. I'm taking a break. It's like I play, then taking a break for studying, and then play again, and taking a break. And I think the best time for me is 2019 when I go for full time streaming.
So, the map we're going to talk today is obviously the classic Arabia. Could you give us a little bit of a rundown about what to expect, the way the map looks, and the typical strategies that come with that?
Think you can expect you get the backward lines always. So this version of Arabia, you always get three wood lines in the back, and your berries always. I think it's really 50%, but it's always forward, and you can expect to go three wood lines in the back. So it's really depending on the map, depending on the strat, but I think it's like more aggressive.
So, we're playing on a slightly modified version of Arabia, I believe. I think closer to the hidden cut variation, with less of the wood lines in the back. So, with that in mind, are there any things that you would change a little bit with that kind of difference on the map?
Some of the most important thing, or can you repeat again?
They're using a variation of the hidden cup one, so it's a little bit more defensive, I think, than the conventional one. So does that change anything with how you would play the map, or does it remain kind of still pretty aggressive?
I think it really depending on your map and your opponent map. It's like when you got a good map, you can play defensive or tactic, and if you got a bad map, it's really depend on the seat and on your map and your opponent map honestly.
Given that the map is kind of more open, but there's obviously some variations, what kind of civilizations would you recommend? And are there any civs that would be safer or easier to play for lower level players?
I think the series successor is easy to play. It's like France, France easy to play. Okay, Chinese a little bit hard, but if you know how to having a good start, you can. It's a really strong to play. And Aztec is really all civilizations, in my opinion. It's like 20 years and Aztec still be the best civilization in 1v1 area. So Hans is a really classic civilization, but it's really strong. You can go scout, you can go man at arm archer, you can, and in the castle you have the cheaper Gavi archer, and know how it's really making you having a quick economy because you never forgot to your house, and you can save a lot of food. And so the faster production for the table have a lot of certain house, such Chinese, France, Mayans, man, you got cheaper after and the incredible eagle. So it's one of the I can recommend really strong civilization.
Awesome, thank you. So, if those are the most common picks, are there any really bad matchups that they tend to have or counters that you need to be aware of?
It's like when you play a civ and you got and the opponent got counter civ like right.
Exactly. Are there any counters?
It's like when you play for aspects, but the opponent got Vikings. It's great on Arabia. It's pretty hard to be honest. But I think it's apply versus counter civil. I think I'm gonna try to put in some pressure. Maintain arm tower. Trying to fight like see a push. I mean, I want to finish the game as soon as possible because I don't want to play the late game because my opponent got to counter seat. So I have no chance when the game go for the late game, and you should look in the pressure all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. So, I guess with that in mind, you mentioned that the map tends to enable kind of more aggressive plays. It's less wally. With that in mind, what build orders would you recommend for players who are kind of new to it and aren't familiar with the meta or the gameplay?
I think it's depend on the style of each player. But if you want to be safe, because it's Arabia, you get the back foot line, you can play defensive. It's more safety to play. Going man and out tower is like tricky. It's really tricky. So I think I recommend for going for defensive. and man at armature. You can go scout, you can go man at armature, or you can war and go archers. It's depending on your civilization and opponent civilization. But I think the most the order we can say is man at armature, or go scout, or go skirmishers, and maybe that. I
Perfect,
don't
thank you.
think. Yeah.
So there are a lot of different options. So I guess finally, are there any other things that players should keep in mind? Or is that the big things that they need to look for?
I think the alternative should be men amateur right going for scout. But if you go for scout, you should have a good map. You should work and don't let your opponent make in your base. Unique approach should be unique approach to the map. It's like if you want to putting the pressure early game, you have to check your opponent map because the wood lies in the back always. So I think you should to check the berries, the gold. So you can know you can attack you can attack him or not. If he fully works, so no way like the game gonna come to the calculate crossbow or nice shield, cabbage, something like that. It's like I mean you should look at your opening map, how your opening map look like, and then you can think about the strat game.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for your time today. It really is helpful. Um, and I really appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you for having me.